169.
Yeah,
Alrighty.
and this is before I actually started making reels too. So it's like soon I'm about to actually start putting it on TikTok and everything, so it'll be all everywhere and stuff like that. So
Okay.
we're good to go. All right, good. Hello. This is another episode of the Mental Threads Podcast, episode 169. I'm here with a very special guest, Mr. Dru Billions. If you'd like to say something.
Hello. Blessings to all.
Yes, and me and Dru met way back. It was Charlotte Spark. I remember 2023.
Right.
Yeah, the second one. Yeah, this is the second one with Trey Rhodes and everything. I remember you were performing at the event. I think you were the last one to go, I think, that day.
I was the last person for the outside section.
Yeah, the outside section. Yes. But it was still pretty dope and everything. I know it's like you had a very a whole lot of passion that came with like your style and everything. I could sense there was a whole lot of experience that came with it too, and so on that nature. And it's like before like, you know, getting into Charlotte Spark, I understand this was the first event that you and Trey collaborated with together.
Correct.
Yes. Yeah. What led you to like create this event with Trey?
Well, he had already created it from the first year, as far as Charlotte Spark is concerned. I just came aboard as a co-organizer for the 2023 version of it. He reached out to me on behalf of another artist that had recommended him reach out to me, because in his prior year, he had reached out to a studio to, I guess, organize like a partnership, type of thing.
And since then, you and Trey have been kind of working on a couple of events together as well.
Yeah, for that time period, we did. We did a couple joints at my former studio, where we just collaborated on some things. One of them was the film and feature situation, and then just some other things, just being involved with each other. Just keeping that network going and stuff like that. So
yeah, y'all seem to work very well together and everything. It's like a kind of like a good balance and stuff of that nature. Because I know it's like even when there's like the little itty bitty events that be going on at UptownINDE, that's his record thing that he got going on as well, and everything. It's well put together with like showcasing other artists and everything, and y'all kind of make it very very open and everything. So it's like it doesn't feel like, oh no, you can't get in, or you can't do this. It's like it feels like a very friendly, open vibe and everything between artists, and I feel like that's very good for like, you know, getting a whole lot of community going with that. So
well, yeah, that's where we vibe. Me as a company and me as an artist. My company exists because of my artistry. So because of that, anything that I do business wise absolutely comes from an artist first mentality. What do I want myself as an artist to experience when it comes to getting ready, leaving out my house, using my gas, things that I work for, to come out to an event. So that translate to other people being able to feel that, and being able to like truly be themselves. This art community, sometimes, you get clicked up and things of that nature, or you just get screwed over because of like janky promoters and stuff like that.
Another movie.
Yeah. I'm a big movie guy.
Yeah, no, for real.
So things like that. So I just want to create those vibes and be a part of those vibes. So anything that I do, or even if I like collaborate or do it singly, it's all coming from that same president of mind state, so, and I won't touch it if it's not, so.
Department. Yeah, I understand. Now, going back into you, Dru Billions, the individual. Who is Dru Billions? Where does he come from? Who is he as an individual?
Oh man, Dru Billions is a Jamaican Haitian coming by way of Miami, Florida. I spent a lot of time in the Bahamas and Jamaica growing up. So sometimes I don't even look at myself as like full American. I'm very like Caribbean American, different type of upbringing. When I went to school in the Bahamas, they still had corporal punishment. So, the teacher could whoop you. Oh. The principal could whoop you. Oh. And then because of that, you go home. Oh, you got whooped at school? You being bad? You get whooped again.
Yeah, so double whoop.
Like, sometimes triple.
All right. Okay, but it still kept you on the right path. Like this, being disciplined is I feel like that's a good foundational piece you have as an individual because like to think twice before you do something.
I would say so. Yeah, it's wild how that's something that you just find out as you just get older, and when you're put in other situations where flying off the handle or making a decision that could send you down a darker path or something like that, definitely comes into play. As far as one of the biggest phrases that was used in our household was "Don't speak unless you're spoken to," and stuff like that. So because of that, I'm able to now. I definitely have a voice. I had to grow into that. Maybe we get to that later, but there's also an element of, because of that, I'm able to now sit and think before I speak in every situation, instead of just always being that person to just rah, 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 and this and that,
Just lash out. Like you have a bit of a filter. You try to filter out your thoughts in a very cohesive way. And you'd say like your upbringing influenced that type of character trait, in a sense.
Yeah, mixed with the wrong that I've done, like early 20s and things of that nature, like as an young adult.
Y'all got a story.
Yeah.
We all got a story. We can only go as deep as you want to go. Just keep in mind. But it's just like, it's good that you even brought up like how discipline and like corporal punishment and everything of that nature. Because like, as we age into adults, you can kind of tell like who people's upbringing, they kind of reflect into adulthood in a sense. I feel like, like with my parents, like I come from like a Western African background.
Okay.
Like both my parents are Liberian, same tribe and everything. So it was just like, I just thought it was like normal. But then I realized, we come into America, everybody's background completely different. Yeah. But it's just like at the same time, I got to thank them for that, because it's just like, you reach to a point where it's like when people aren't disciplined in life, life starts to discipline them. Really, it's just like life will discipline you if your parents don't discipline you. And I feel like that's just kind of like saves you from that, really, because people could really end up in a situation where they could be like stuck into something where they have to deal with it like for years, where they're getting like given life time sentences, or just situations where they might end up losing their life, and that would be just it because they made a rash decision or didn't think things through from a more long-term perspective as opposed to like a short-term perspective. So yeah, I can definitely understand that for sure. And I understand you saying that you come from like a Jamaican and Haitian background and stuff of that nature. So you were like born in the Bahamas, or were you just born in Florida, then you just wanted to go live in the Bahamas for a little bit?
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Okay. Back then, my mom used to work for a cruise company.
Oh, nice.
So I was born in Miami, but pretty much just South Florida area, Fort Lauderdale and all of that. So it was easier. This was like obviously pre-2001 with 9/11. So I could just get on the boat and just ride over at any time, and then that trip is only like, I want to say 45 minutes or an hour or something like that.
Oh, really? From Florida to the Bahamas?
Something like that, yeah.
That's dope. That's dope. I'd be thinking
don't quote me if I'm wrong, but
I feel like it'd be further, like an hour, 2 hours.
Yeah, maybe, somewhere around that. But, it's like a quick day thing to where, me hopping on the boat. Like, I remember my mom, I would go with her to work, and then I'm just thinking that's just how we just travel, like, not thinking whatever. And she would just be like, she would call my grandmother and be like, yo, your grandson's at the port. You need to go pick him up.
Oh, okay.
Because I was just a stowaway on the boat.
That's very dope. I have yet to touch my homeland and everything. I spent my whole life in America, so it's just like, it's still a process. You got to get like what you call it, a passport, and then on top of that, like we don't have a direct like airport from Liberia. That's my background. Liberia straight to America, which is strange because Liberia was like founded by American slaves and everything. So it's like you would think like by now we'd have like something to kind of get straight to America. We had to go and take a flight to Belgium and everything. I think my cousin just went and she had to land in Brussels and then had to go straight to Liberia from there. So it was like very, very strange when you think about it. But it's like, it's one of those things. So it's just like from like your upbringing. I know you say that you were born in Florida, Southern Florida. Florida, and then you would kind of commune to Bahamas and the islands pretty often, and now you're here in North Carolina. I know you stay, I think in the past he's told me something about like you pretty much living in Concord, correct?
So when we first got here, late 90s, after my dad passed away.
Oh, man. Rest in peace now.
Yeah, you know, Daddy Saw, you know, that was his DJ name. When we got here, it was straight to Concord. So that was elementary school, you know. So I've been here since then. And then Concord, Harrisburg area up until graduating from high school. Shout out to J.M. Robinson.
J.M. Robinson High School. Okay, I went to a middle school, J.M. Robinson Middle School. I'm like, what, you graduated from middle school, man? I'm about to say, but yeah, there's a J.M. Robinson Middle School, and it's in southern Charlotte. Just want to let you know.
Oh, okay.
That's what kind of threw me off. Okay, that's funny. But anyway, so it's like, you know, when your family decided to relocate to Concord, I presume like right after the passing of your father and everything, did like your mother just have any like relative that stayed in North Carolina? Or y'all just thought you just want to just turn a new leaf and just start completely
I think a little bit of both. We had a cousin.
Okay.
We had a cousin. He had like a couple kids. So he was like our direct link here. But then other than that, I think she just wanted something different.
Okay.
Like, you know, she met my dad in Miami. You know, he was a DJ, and you know, she was the party, I guess, goer. You know, she's Jamaican, and then my father was the Haitian, but he spun a lot of reggae music, so and spoke like honestly sometimes better patois than actual Jamaicans as a Haitian. So it's wild when I listen to some of his older tapes and stuff like that. But
that's really dope.
So I think she just wanted a new leaf for her. It was me and my brother, just my single brother at the time. We're 7 years apart, but it was just us two. So I was 7, he was just like touching 1 or something like that. So I think she just wanted something different, you know.
Okay. And it's just like, you know, in terms of like your parents and like their cultural identities flowing into you and everything, would you say that you identify more with Haitian or more with Jamaican? I'm thinking Jamaican because you're wearing that hat.
100% Jamaican. Well, obviously not 100%, but I'd say 90%. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I guess because growing up on that side, and then unfortunately I didn't get to learn Creole, so I guess I couldn't really like attach myself to the culture, like especially like when I visited my dad's side and being at all the family functions and stuff. Like, you know, I could understand a little bit in context, of course, but you know, it's one thing when if you can't really just divulge into the language with everyone else and stuff like that. So and like the music, you know, like soca and stuff like that. Like I didn't really attach to that, while on the Jamaican side, it's just broken English, so I at least could understand it. You know, some of it still need a dictionary for it, but or a translator. But for the most part, you know, because I could understand it, it just went that way. And then I guess the culture, you know, I definitely found myself becoming spiritual before I knew what that was, and some of the feelings that I had when it comes to like marijuana use and stuff.
That's true.
I always felt like I didn't feel like I was like really trying to escape something. For me, it actually is like a connection situation where I'm, you know, getting a little closer to
your frequency is raised to a certain degree, which I understand what you mean. Oh, by the way, speak a little bit closer to the microphone because, like, you know, I don't know how it might take it like in the house received. Yeah, just want to be able to notice that. But yeah, you know, I feel that. I feel like spirituality is more like, it's just one of the things I feel like it's more universal than like, I feel like religion is just kind of can be a little bit constricting of one's identity, because I feel like there's truth in a lot of things, you know, and you know, with truth comes, it balances off with pretense as well. And you know, that's not me trying to point the finger like whatever religion, but I feel like over the years, I feel like religion, instead of taking like a stance of just guiding our lives and like the righteousness within lives, I feel like some people just take it for just like an image thing. Like people live like a very like messed up life, but then like put like a weird like quote from the Bible in like their bio and everything. And it's like I ain't no judge or whatever, but I feel like there's more to it, and there's more things that you have to pretty much contribute to it and make a part of your lifestyle more than just putting like a quote. Right. And like there's certain steps in your behavior that you had to be able to accumulate to yourself in terms of your values as well. But that's just how I see it. But at the same token, I feel like spirituality. I feel like, that's pretty universal, because it's like, I feel like the more higher your frequency, the more authentic one can be with themselves, because underneath all the flesh, you have the soul and the spirit. And I feel like people aren't very in touch with their soul and their spirit, and in touch where they more identify more with the flesh, what people see on the outside. And thus, like, they don't really, that leads to a sense of just not taking accountability for who they are, what they've done, and so on. So it's, that short-sightedness and the long-termness. So I was speaking about earlier. But it's like back on the whole spirituality sense. Would you identify as with any of the beliefs of Rastafarians by any chance?
I believe with some of, I do. I believe a little bit about all of them, all of the religions and things of that nature. I feel like it's just one of those situations where if you're doing some research on something. And you see enough people talking about something, and they're like confirming, okay, this is this way. One would say, okay, based on from a numbers game, like this seems to be the consensus with this, even if I'm coming into it bare, like there has to be like a general idea of, all right, if all of you say, take direct religion, for example. If all of you say there was this man born on a certain day that just happened to all be at the end of the year, he was born, all of you say this man was born from a mother that didn't have sex with a man, another man. And I'm just like, but all of you say, but we're so different and this and that. I'm just like, like, did I miss something here?
And how a lot of major religions have their own flood story in the beginning, right. Like Noah and then Gilgamesh and everything of that nature.
I'm just like, I feel like just like languages, it's just based on wherever you are in the world.
Yes.
Like, and
how you interpret it.
Exactly. And how the story was passed down and stuff like that. Like, based on your culture, stories are passed down differently. The Chinese do things differently than like Hawaiian storytellers, something like that, like based on those cultural differences of like how you're brought up and circumstances based on where you are in the world, So some people are obviously like, just take the basic example of North and South Equator. Like some people will never know what it's like to be cold.
Or never see snow a day in their lives,
and so it's like, obviously their circumstances for how they're going to relate certain things, like say certain like mythological situations of like the sun god and such of them, basically like that. Well, shit, that's all they saw. There was another part of the earth they don't really see sun a lot, things of that nature. So
yeah, just in how you interpret it and what you were exposed to, for sure. Yeah. But back onto you, what are some hobbies and interests that you might have?
Hobbies and interests outside of,
you can list music too. Like it's on the list, so it's like
So music is number one, man. It's that what leads everything off. Past that, I love going outside. I'm a adventurer. I do hiking, camping. Like I always say, like if a zombie apocalypse happened or whatever type of apocalypse happened, I'm gonna live.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna live. I'm gonna thrive. I'm gonna be a part of the new world for sure. Yeah. So that's usually what I'd be doing. I'm a movie buff. Like I love movies. I'll watch anything, anytime from an artistic standpoint. I feel like if 100 of y'all people got together and said, "This is our creative expression."
Oh, really?
Who am I to say like, "Oh, this shit sucks"?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry for cussing.
No, you can cuss. It's
it's open to cuss. But it's like, so I might not like it, or it might not be relatable to me, but I'm not gonna just down it and be like, nah, I'm not gonna watch it just because it doesn't have like a prominent actor or something like that, you know.
Yeah.
So that's like, so I love movies and stuff like that. And other than that, man, I enjoy just doing business and creating, because business for me is an extension of my art form.
Yeah,
it's not
for
separate
sure.
anymore for me.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Especially when it comes to like networking, meeting so many different types of people, trying to like manage a budget as well to try to fund a project or anything that you want to do. Everything comes with a process, and I feel like, you know, with creativity and like, you know, when it comes to business, I feel like they're kind of on the same, not on the same side of the same coin, but like two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
Where it's like one's more like methodical in terms of just building something, and one's more on like the left side brain, and it's just like, you know, just creating something to be like, you know, taken and interpreted by a group of people or an audience or whoever that may be. But it's like, yeah, man, it's like I could pretty much understand, you know, even with like the Mental Threads podcast, like I created like with the whole like logo and everything and all the steps it takes to get to this point where I actually found where it started, where it was just audio based, and now it's like, now it's more physical. Now you can actually see the video side of it. You can see like the banners and stuff like that. And now we're talking to microphones now. And it's just like, it's just another step in that process, you know, and then, you know, who knows where it's going to be 5 years from now and so on and so forth. You just got to kind of keep pushing and see how it kind of materializes itself moving forward.
You know, not to cut you off, but my bad. That point right there is like something that I try to instill in other business owners and entrepreneurs, or just like other artists. It's a situation of literally, if you don't stop, you can't like go backwards. Like you're always going to go forward. If you are one place now, it's almost like statistically impossible like to like do lesser, because you've already achieved something. So the only way to move from there is to build upon it. You know what I'm saying?
Set goals.
Exactly. And then even from like, say, a technology standpoint, this is the machine that you're using now.
Yeah.
You're not going to go less because this does X amount of things. So based on where the Mental Thread podcast takes off to, if you're in a different space, like now you're doing like an auditorium or something like that, now you automatically have to get different types of technology. You see what I'm saying? Which is going to just level up your whole situation to where you can do more. Now you can do X amount of things in a faster time, speeds up business, such and such and such, or whatever. So,
and try to find different ways to fund it and market it and everything as well too. That, which is also like a whole nother art form in itself, trying to ensure you get a product out to the right people in the right ears and everything like that, and actually trying to figure out the right people to work with to that regard. So it's just like, you know, it's just investment of time. The more you put time into something, the more it's going to manifest itself. I used to start this with just using my phone and people just talking in the phone, and that was it. So it's just like, you know, just imagine like, you know, just looking back like, man, I really started this as an idea and now it's reaching to this point. So it's just like, you know, I feel like, you know, that's why the beautiful thing about being like interested in music and getting interested in like business and thing of that nature, because like the more you put time in it, the more you set goals for yourself, the more it's going to manifest and materialize into something entirely different over time and mature. You know, we all started as a baby crawling, couldn't even talk, poor, and just like throwing up things like that. Now it's like we all stand up, we all be able to materialize and be able to cohesively speak and like introduce ideas to other people just vocally, just things like that, and just relate to other people different. You know, you become more complex as you get older, you know.
The thought that just came to mind was really, for me, thinking back on the albums that I did in earlier years where I was just in my bedroom. You know, unfortunately didn't take that Billie Eilish approach from my bedroom, but still, you know, 5 of us, you know, we're rocking around, and like that's where my studio was. So shoot, that's where we gotta, you know, record and make it happen. To think back to now, I'm in a 2,000 square foot building, you know, remodeling and about to launch the thing that's gonna make me a billionaire, like hands down. Like it's so surreal sometimes, because at the start of this year, I'm not big on like putting out my what is it? New Year's resolutions, right? Mm-hmm. It's not really. It's because I'm always making goals and stuff like that because I'm an artist that's releasing stuff and albums. So making a goal for me and like that's normal, you know. So it's just like, what are we doing in the next 5 months, 6 months, year, whatever. So at the start of this year, I wrote on my my whiteboard, Uptown Indie opening January 1st, 2025. Right. At that time, I was in a studio off of Brookshire, the place that I think you had came to.
Yeah. That was sharing an area with the acting studio.
Correct. Yeah. Right. So I'm in there. I'm just renting my space, but I get to use all their space and stuff like that. At that time, Uptown Indie, the company had already been around I'm 4 years in now as far as this company name, but 10 years removed from my first company ever, which was Apehead Entertainment, that I just didn't know how to do the paperwork for. So the company dissolved.
Okay, happens.
Yeah,
it's like we all trip.
Right. But that's where the motto comes from. Apehead is the always pursue excellence.
Oh, okay.
So that's still what I'm running with now. It's just under a different name or whatever. So Uptown Indie, as far as what I wanted to do with the store, all of these ideas was from 10 years ago. So it, just kept on coming back in the last 2 or 3 years with the start of me coming back out to Charlotte and being able to successfully do some events, the open mic, Sunday showcase, my relationship with Starlight on 22nd, meeting a Trey Rhodes, and doing Charlotte Spark and everything in between, and becoming a contributor and a facilitator for other artists and myself. Like Dru Billions is a new moniker that I've been going by and for the last 4 years.
That's all right.
Before that, I was Dru Blast.
That's cool.
So at this point, I say all that to say, like, I wrote that, not even, it wasn't like the most prominent thing in my mind, because I really didn't know how it was going to happen. But I was like, it's time for it. Fast forward, I go on a trip. I get back, and the other tenant within the studio, he's like, hey, man, I think we might have black mold.
Oh, wow.
And I'm just like, oh, shoot, okay. He's like, yeah, we got to leave and this and that. So I took the whole studio. This is almost $10,000 worth of equipment, crammed it in my apartment, and it's just sitting there every day. And I'm just like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Like, and then he's like, do you want to come with me to the new space out in Concord and this and that? And then all of a sudden the idea started hitting me. It was like, damn, this is crazy. What about Uptown Indie, the store, this and that? Like, is this time? Sure enough, within 24 hours of that thought, I went online. I went on Craigslist of all places, and went to the commercial rental thing and this and that. I found a couple numbers, couple names, and then this one stood out. Guy meets me the very next day. There's something about, like, if somebody's really serious about something, like, they'll put their number. They're like, get in touch with me type of thing, right?
Yes.
The rate was great. I was like, well, shoot, man, like, that's good. Because I was looking for something that I still work a 9 to 5. So I was like, well, shoot, if I can afford the rent just based on my 9 to 5, at least until I get open, I'll be fine,
Oh, okay.
So, I'm all in, I meet him. He's like, yeah, let's do it. I like the idea. I think it would be great and stuff like that. This is the power of, I guess, going with divine intervention, in a sense.
Divine intervention is real, very, very real.
I said, yeah, let's do it. I literally had $20 in the bank. And he tells me, first month, last month. And I was like, okay. At this time, the $20 was there. I was about to get paid, but that next paycheck was to solidify my first independent tour to New York, right? Because I'm self-financing everything,
Just tough, really, really tough.
It is.
Like, y'all really, people outside of me, you don't know how it is. Like, the self-finance things, it takes a toll.
Look, one check is to pay the bills. The other check is, and some, type of thing is to, fund myself, And so this is what's going on. And then so I get up to New York and I'm doing the trip and this and that. And then I use my first time ever using the networking numbers and everything that I ever had. I sent out a text and an email to almost, I want to say 50, 60 people with the whole breakdown of like a quick, like an elevator pitch, like 30-second Shark Tank type thing in a text message.
Oh, okay.
I was like, whoever is interested in this, call me now, I got a few hits and this and that. And then ultimately, it was one person that I didn't even, think of to like go to first or anything like that. They hit me, and then I had another investor as well. And then all of this happens. The guy from the landlord, he calls me on the Sunday, and he's like, "Hey, do you want to do this?" I'm still almost half money away, from getting everything, and I'm like, "Yes, I'm gonna figure it out," because what he did was he said, "I'm going to send over the lease. You sign it, I'll lock it in without me putting a dime down." So we already confirmed that they're taking it off the market and they're actually going to wait. And I'm like, who the freak does that? like normal people would just say like, "Oh, well, you don't
Too
have
bad
it.
for you."
Yeah. Just like, here it is, give us the money, then it's yours type of thing. That's on Sunday. I told him I get back from New York on Friday. On the 1st, we'll make the lease for the 1st, like starting on the 1st or whatnot. And so we signed it, send it over. So they're waiting a whole week. So my whole thing in my mind was, I have to find half the money by Thursday, And that's why I say like, just that evolution of like believing and coming from something in the beginning that you didn't really see where you were going. It really just comes full circle. Like it's a beautiful thing. And that's what I say, like sometimes it's surreal. The first couple weeks I'm sitting in there, I'm sitting in there and starting to formulate like the layout plan and stuff like that. And I'm thinking, this just changed everything for Dru Billions within the Charlotte community, but then also UptownINDE, because I promise you what's about to transpire with what I've already done and who I'm involved with, this is going to be a magical thing, because now the first thought that hit me was, I have a landmark. I have a literal landmark within the community, where now I'm responsible for the upbringing of kids and everything that gets to see this building within their lineage. And I think that's really important. And actually like being a part of like a mainstay going forward. And it's wild to me. And like I said, this now building, everything I've done prior from a business standpoint, yes, it's been good. I'm breaking even almost every year, whatever. But actually having this physical location, it takes it to a whole other level to where like, yeah, this is going to be the start of me getting to $1 billion. And then half of it is because my name is Dru Billions. Yeah,
I know you're trying to put it manifested through your name. Yeah, no. There's a whole lot of power that comes in actually vocalizing it and saying it out loud for sure and everything. And even like, divine intervention is considered, the guy wanted to stretch out the lease, like, okay, yeah, we'll just wait on you and everything. These are very key moments. And that's why I'm saying like Charlotte is really going to go through a big transitional process. We're in the mid of the 2020s and everything. Yeah. But I feel like by the end of the 2020s, I feel like the city of Charlotte, in terms of our artistry, what we have to deliver and everything, I feel like that's when things will really be solidified by then, for certain, because there's just too many things going on right now with, like, you know, I'm talking to all these different artists and hearing from their backgrounds and everything. I'm listening to their music, your music especially, and everything. I could, even before we even met for like the second time here and everything, I could already hear the influences of like reggae and everything, and your culture influence already in your music. So it's just like it's already living on, and I feel like energy doesn't really get destroyed. Even like when we have like an idea and everything, when you already see it as an image, that's energy in your mind. So it's like it's gonna transmute in some form of fashion, and now you got this building and everything that you're working out of and everything. After how long you've been trying to find a building?
Shoot, I would say 15 years, man.
15 years.
Yeah, like,
now you're here.
Yeah.
It just takes time, you know, and it's just like, you know, but those are the people that with the strongest wills to carry on for, say, a 15-year sense and everything. I dropped my first project back in 2021. And everything. I'm still getting back into the motions of actually dropping my next project through the Grindhouse Studios and everything.
Nice.
And when I first did my first like session in a while and everything, it was like a struggle trying to get back into the whole sense. I'm punching in every 2 lines. Like I used to never do 2 lines. It was like more like 4 lines. I would like knock out the chorus like it was nothing, and then, you know, just restate it again but more sharpened, and then that would be it. But now it's like I had to do it again, and then like one intro stretched for like 2 full hours. And so I'm like, okay, let me just take it back. Let me just think about it again, listen to these beats, write it down, see if I can, what comes to mind when I listen to it, because that's like my process. Listen to the beat, see how you're feeling, focus on your feeling. If you feel a sense of dread, you know, write out like how that dread makes you feel. If you feel a sense of purpose, you know, put a sense like when you feel a sense of purpose, vocalize what that purpose means to you and like where this energy is coming from, where you hope it to take you, and things like that. And that's what songs kind of do, like in a sense for me, like when I write down poetry or whatever, it's all a sense of just building my perspective, but also giving people a sense into that perspective and mirror and reflection to their own perspective as well. So like when I listen to a J. Cole song or whatever, it's J. Cole's song from his perspective, but it feels like it meshes so well into my life at the same time. Like it feels like he's narrating in a sense. So it's just like, you know, that's what music can do for you as well. That's what that all comes down to, that energy in a sense. And so now you've been looking for this spot, and now you finally got it. And so who knows what's going to take in the next 5 years and everything. Yes.
And that's pretty much my trajectory for like the first phase of UptownINDE, because snapshot within these next 5 years is to legitimize turning the music industry into a retail setting. That's essentially what the store, it's a retail music cafe. So every single product inside the store is 100% by independent entrepreneurs and artists. And those are the only products I'll sell. But because of that, my thing is financial freedom and knowledge. So doing business with UptownINDE is more of it's the next step up. But I also believe in like luxury in all types of settings. So this is like a luxury aspect of doing business, which means you are vetted. You're not just paying a fee to be a part of something. No, this is, you have to own your masters. You have to come in, sit in a class. If you don't have X, Y, and Z, you're not going to be able to be a part of the community, because that's what we're building all together. And it's not possible if somebody is on the outskirts without the proper paperwork. So I need everyone to have the same, be on some paperwork in the best possible way, so that, say, when the time comes, UptownINDE is offered X amount of dollars, 500,000, couple million, whatever, not for a buyout, but for like some type of strategic partnership. I need all the artists to be on paperwork, so that we can all win and so we can all eat. You know what I'm saying? So that's like the biggest facet to what the store is.
Yeah, and you're educating like the artists as well. You know, education is such a like a deep, deep thing as well. Being self-aware, because you know, like in this industry, especially with rap and hip hops, how many people we seen that did so well one day and then they're dead broke the next? And it's just like we got to stop that narrative in a sense. It's just like we got to build. This is something like with music, especially with things that we create in America. We may not have like especially with things like Jim Crow, and then for centuries so many things, so many matters of discrimination that held us back for so many years and everything. It's just like at this point now it's time for us to educate ourselves as a people. We built in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street. Yeah. Like it's possible. They ran their own stores, their own city, and they were doing just fine until a riot broke out and that ruined everything. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, it's just things like that. We have the power. Education, knowledge, that's all power. Being self-aware in this industry could really take you a lot further instead of getting set up and everything into a record deal that's going to leave you broke or just leave you in a situation where you don't own anything. Yeah. Or a situation where you got to sell your own masters because you've lived such a weird, messed up lifestyle where it's just like you didn't save not $1 and everything. It's really time for us to reinvest in our people. So it's like for you to even take that step to actually start your own thing instead of just trying to like hop onto another brand and everything just for them to take pieces of your soul and everything. It takes a whole lot of courage to do things your own way and everything. So I'm gonna commend you right on that end. I would try to give credit where it's due. But back to you though, like what drove you specifically to become an artist in your own words?
It all started at 10 years old. My father was a DJ, so being around just the music industry and just in general in South Florida in the 90s, DJing was especially vinyl. So seeing all of these guys, digging in the crates and things of that nature, that's what just got me involved in it. And then I was able to go to the clubs because of the DJing situation. My family, they had started a underground radio station in South Florida. So they had artists come in, and I'm talking early Sean Paul, Lil Kim, the Fugees, and so many more. So it was a prominent underground station in South Florida during the 90s, early 90s. And so that's what got me into it as far as just being around it. And then I tried to DJ when I was around 10 to like 12. And my first thing that I wanted to do was mix and make, this, what I didn't know, like a cappella and instrumental from a different song, like go together, I always thought that was the coolest thing. Yeah. And when I couldn't figure it out, because I didn't know about like beats per minute at that time.
Sorry. Everything all right?
Yeah. All right. Sorry. So since I couldn't do that, I had went over to beat making, and then the beat making like kind of took over, and then to where somewhere down the line I just wanted to rap.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, and then with the rapping, I went to school for engineering. I thought I was just going to be a producer full time, and then right around, it was like the Soulja Boy era.
Oh yeah. We're very familiar with that.
Yeah.
The ringtone era.
Yeah. I realized, you could say kind of anything on the track or whatever, and, have fun and this and that. But I was already a hip hop guy, so I grew up on listening to like early Wu-Tang, Jadakiss, and like when I started to like realize what rap was and stuff like that. So it was dope.
Yeah, man, rap is so strange because it's just like it's so crazy because it's like it's born from our people and everything, just like the blues and country music and everything and soul and so on and so forth. And it's just like, it is just God is so weird that way because it's just like when I first got my first MP3 player in middle school and everybody had like an iPad. I had MP3 player. I didn't care. But it was just like, before that I just thought hip hop as just being just a fun thing. You know, this is around the time of like Fat Joe, Ludacris. That's what I grew up on and everything. And it was just like something you played at parties and we would just watch like, you know, 106 in Park, and that's just what I saw and everything. But then it was like one fateful day, I couldn't find any rap songs to put onto my MP3. I couldn't find any song except like this one CD. It was the Tupac Greatest Hits CD, and it was just the second this, and I was just like, after when I burned all the songs, and I was hearing the songs like Brenda's Got a Baby and things like Troublesome, and then it was just like, and also had songs like I Get Around and stuff, and it was just like, you know, it's like there's so many dimensions to hip hop I didn't even understand. So you mean to tell me you can speak about the perspective of a young girl who got pregnant in the ghetto, and then like make another song about just like how you're just having fun at the party and just how you get around, and then make another song about your mother and everything, your relationship with your mother, and then make another song just full of anger from all the people that did you wrong and stuff like that. There's just so many extents you can go to. And it just felt like it was something venting. And at first it was just something like fun. I used to just write little poems and everything, and then just say it in front of my friends, like just to get a little itty bitty laugh, something crazy. But then over time I had to go through my struggles as well. And then it's just like issues at home and then at school. And then it was like a place for me to vent and stuff like that. And then it just slowly just kind of grew into something, an interest that just became a part of me over the years and stuff. And I'm just like, that's just one of the, like the more wonderful things about hip hop. It can motivate you. It can change your perception. It can show you insights into other people's perceptions and stuff like that. So it's just like, you know, I just think it's just one of those wonderful things. But back to you, I want to be able to ask you, like, what are some of your influences? Because I know I hear a lot of like, you know, reggae and a lot of your culture into your music as well. And tracks like, for instance, I really like this one, like Hold On and What's Up and like Green Light. That's why I first like, oh, okay, that's the direction we're going into and everything. Just for your No Traffic. What was it? The No Traffic one. Yeah.
Let's see. When you say influences, like other artists or just in general?
I mean, it could be just in general. Artists is like can be an influence, but also a sound as well. You know, it's just like
okay.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, mood music. I love mood music. I think I still do. I look at myself as like the Luther Vandross of rap.
Okay.
Like I want to be like, I like when the track come on, like I would say 80% of the beats that I would choose over anything would be R&B beats.
Okay.
And I like to rap over them. Like, you know, like that Biggie and 112 type joint, you know, like.
So a sense of trap soul, Bryson Tiller in a sense?
Yeah, you know, but I want to rap on it, you know, like I have the songs where, you know, I'll sing a little bit or whatever with the auto tune, but for the most part, like I still want to drop bars, you know. So I think it's like, and because of that, it's like a mood that I'm able to just like slip into because I'm more attracted to the a little closer in time as far as the beat structures. Like I don't really like it too swingy.
Yeah.
So because of that, like I'm able to just like, I'm a boom bap guy. So like when it has that bounce and groove, like I love that, like out of anything. Like, so like, for example, like some drill music is cool, like from a beat standpoint, like I'm still a producer, you know, so I get it. But I also like a little bit smoother when it comes to like beat structure, you know, like some of that is like,
yeah, it's just kind of like too high energy, and they're like, "Dude, can y'all ever just calm down?" Like, y'all always trying to, but it's like, yeah, like I know, like for instance, like when I was growing up and everything, I would listen to a lot of Big L and stuff like that. Big L was like my shit too, and it's like Nas, Big L, like a lot of like I was really drawn to a lot of like New York boom bap songs, especially with Wu-Tang and everything, and even in the modern day pro era was really good. Joey Badass and Capital Steez and stuff, they were really really good. I feel like they're kind of carrying the torch to that degree, sadly. Boom bop, it's like boom bop is so weird now because it's like you don't really hear too much of boom bop, and now it's like literally like, you know, like the basis point, you know,
because you know it's hip hop, so unfortunately there's a lot of ageism and like old school new school stuff. So when you hear that, they automatically associate it with like an old school flavor or whatever, versus like a country song, where like a she could be current, obviously, like a Taylor Swift or Miley Cyrus or something like that, and they can do like a legit bluegrass song, and it's just, oh, it just got that country feel, this and that, you know. But we know that's the same, like,
Yeah.
you know, Shania Twain, Dolly Parton situation.
Randy Travis.
Yeah, you know, from what we know, like country, bluegrass, whatever.
Kenny Rogers and
Yeah.
everything. Like, it's all the same genre. So there's no,
You know?
no sense of, how can I say, it's no sense of like discrimination between the ageism and whatever. It's just like you just feel whatever you feel.
Yeah.
One's more
It's just the
nostalgic
music.
than the other, but
That's
one
it.
day the stuff at the present is gonna be nostalgic pretty soon too. And it's like no, the same.
And then I think that's,
Yeah.
you know, that disconnect in hip hop right now, unfortunately.
Yeah, there's a lot of trends going in hip hop, and then what comes with trends, it takes away from the art form in a sense. You know, like from an Illmatic to like Lil Pump drop. What Lil Pump drop? It was
I don't
like
know
it
anything
was
about
something. Yeah, it was like college dropout. No, it wasn't a college dropout. It was like drop out of Harvard. It was like
yeah.
it's just like he said just Gucci Gang, and he just says that the whole time, and then there's no song structure behind it because people became building a fondness over people's status and what they have to own, as opposed to like the skill set and the storytelling behind it.
So on that topic, I just think it's going to take somebody or maybe
A wave of people.
a wave of people, but also I heard Method Man actually say it. We need people that are at the top that actually make the decisions. We need more people there,
Yes.
you know, that actually care and this and that. Because honestly, what it comes down to, I feel like that's actually one of the greatest things that hip hop did as well. That we were able to come up with a genre of music that has probably the most subgenres of any type of music.
It's wonderful, wonderful.
Just make them subgenres. Like, I get it. I feel like people also need to understand that, like, there is the commercial exploit of rap music, but then there is an actual thing, a living, breathing thing, I feel like, that people aren't understanding, that is hip hop.
Yes.
And that is 90% of what moves the world
Yes.
in today's market, you know, because hip hop is associated with what? Flavor.
Yeah,
It's
flavor.
style, whatever, you know?
And it also reflected people's sense of just kind of letting people know what was going on in the day and age. Like, I know, like, back then, like, what was that song? It was like I think, was it Furious 5 or something like that? They talk about, like, how, like, you know, a lot of people were, like, a lot of folk that couldn't find a job and everything. And I forgot the lyrics. It was like, something of mankind or something like that. I can't really take back what the song was, but I do recall, like, basically he was just essentially using it as a medium to really speak on, like, what was going on in that time. And, like, there was a lot of unemployment going on. I think it was like somewhere in between the 70s, something like that, and everything. And then, like, in the rural areas, a lot of people were being laid off, didn't have jobs and everything, so they had to do all types of stuff and stuff of that nature. And it's just like, you know, it all bounces off to throughout the ages and everything. You know, people speak about their struggles. 50 Cent got shot 9 times and everything. Jay-Z had to sell drugs at one point and everything. Had to stab, I think, he had to stab somebody. I forgot who it was or whatever. But it's just things like that. It's just like Eminem is famous for speaking about his struggle with family life, you know, drug addiction and stuff of that nature. And it's just like, you know, it gives people an insight into, like, you know, all the issues that are going on, maybe like the newscast won't be able to reveal, or maybe they might skim over it, but they don't really go into, like, and on a personal sense of, like, what's going on.
I look at music and the arts and just in general, like, they're all expressions of personal experiences, you know. So when it comes to the almost like one of the best things about, like, a musical artist, we're able to lyrically put a visual, lyrically able to make you visualize what we've been through, which is what movie directors and stuff do as well, you know, with their dialogue and what the cinematography is able to achieve. And so I think that's really cool. So it's like we're movie directors and everything is just based on true experience, you know, true stories and things of that nature, where it's all escapism to a person that's never experienced that before. And it's just a way for, if you are open to it, because some people are just closed off to being cultured. They don't want to know about anything that's outside of themselves, you know. And for me, like, I just never was, I grew up around so many different types of cultures, like especially South Florida, Cubans, Puerto Ricans, Haitian, Jamaican, obviously, but all of these cultures, and then coming here, actually, Concord, shoot, that high school I went to, shoot, that was what I want to say 85% white, so being exposed to their culture, it was a real thing, like, oh, y'all do some things differently.
Yeah, and it's just like with so many different people pouring into Charlotte, North Carolina, like people from Chicago, people from Florida, people from New York especially, most famously and everything. I feel like that's the wonderful thing about Charlotte too, is that we have so many different types of backgrounds being poured into one city, and it's just like, it could also, if you mix in different colors, you're going to get something different. You mix yellow with blue, you get green.
Yeah.
And then you mix red with yellow, you get orange. And there's things like that. I keep bringing up like yellow. So yellow been around. I don't know. So it's just things like that nature. It's just like, I feel like Charlotte is in a position where we can really create our own sound and develop our own identity outside of just like, okay, we're not Atlanta, but we're just another southern metropolitan. And the people don't even realize we're like the bigger city in terms of like populace and square mileage. And people don't even realize that because it's just, they have such a, I don't want to say dismissive, because it's like at the same time it's us. Like we don't even like put our own people on and everything at the same time. But it's just like, I feel like, it's important for like a Trey Rhodes or even a Dru Billions. Y'all are really at the cusp of really setting that wave going on and everything, like amongst a lot of people as well, but you're amongst those people because now you're facilitating and you're pretty much in a sense nurturing this area for artists to come and come together and also just express themselves and also accept other artists as well. And I feel like before we move on as a city to actually build like an impact like in the world, it has to start with us really communing together as one. And that's why, like, I interviewed Soulless, I interviewed Queenie Love, Sam DeNovo. Just because you saw Sam DeNovo's interview, now you're here right now. And it's like this extended universe in the sense of the same people who work together in Charlotte. I imagine like 5 years from now, it's like that. I see it's like, hey, weren't you on the Mental Touch podcast a while ago? I've seen that interview. Now look at you now. And it's just stuff like that. And even then, like even yesterday, I had Adrian Nice on. I don't know if you know about the Marvin Out podcast. Have you been on the Marvin Out podcast? Okay,
not specifically. Yeah, I was. It was at a show, at like a Reese Rap show. So I was in the back.
Regardless, he was on just yesterday. And the thing is, 2 years ago, I was on his 24-hour podcast and everything where he was like doing the 24-hour stream. And that's where I met him out in this same studio. And it's because of that connection. Now I'm doing my podcast in this same studio.
Nice.
So just a connection right there. So it's just like, never sleep on networking and connecting with others and building. And it's also, even if it takes you 10 years, 15 years and everything, it's just like, just know that you're still moving forward in this profession, even on outside, like you're 9 to 5. You're a bartender, correct?
I'm an optician and a bartender. Well,
I work for LPL Financial. I work on the phones as a service professional and everything. So it's like, hey, good money for right now and everything. And on the weekends, I work as a security guard for like a strip club. It's just one of those things. It's just like,
I used to DJ at a strip club. It wasn't my thing.
There's a lot going on, but it's like at the same token, it's just one of those things. It's just like everything has a process. Everything takes step by step.
Shoot, man. I mean. Not to date myself too much, but I mean, my first record that I ever released into the populace was in 2009. And I would say the first time I ever was recorded was 2002. And that was actually on a tape recorder. I was in actually a Bible class back in middle school, and the teacher she actually reminded me of Miss Frizzle from
the Magic School Bus.
Yeah. She was like one of those like kind of eccentric, like but real just passionate. But she was the Old Testament teacher of all things. But that was like when I was getting into rap, type of thing. And I think that was just her way of connecting with one of her students, was just like, if this is what you say you do, you rap thing or whatever, I want you. She tasked me with writing a rap about the 10 Commandments.
Oh, nice.
That's dope. And that was her way of like connecting with me, I guess, or whatever.
That's
and,
really cool.
And that was the first thing I ever recorded. And I still have the tape. I couldn't remember the words, but I got to get a cassette player so I can hear it. But I recorded it over a Lloyd Banks beat actually at the time. And God, it was all over the place. But but you know, it sparked something, and it sparked something. So that was, you know, so I would say you know how many words I've said over these years if I started at 12 years old?
Mm-hmm.
Since 2009, I've released 14 albums.
Oh.
Every single one of those albums had over 15 songs on them.
Oh, dope.
And then I rebranded into Dru Billions.
Yeah, it's all
You see what I'm saying? So, and it's like one would say, "Man, you did all of that and you don't got blah, blah, blah." I'm like, it's not about that. It never has been, because
the love of the game and everything.
Exactly.
That's what takes you far.
Exactly.
These places.
And I love every single project I've ever done. Like,
that's dope.
Have I gotten extraordinarily better than what I started at? Of course. Yeah, that's great.
That also helps as well to keep motivating you. But at the same token, though, it's like I know you've pretty much gotten far, like your career and everything so far, especially from my perspective. I feel you gotten far, especially getting like your own like studio and everything.
So I was going to actually mention that. Yeah. That goes with somebody. You define your own success.
Yes, that is true.
When
keep in mind we're closing.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so I guess I'm close on this. So when it comes to that, you define your own success. Like I say, when you hear, oh, you gotta make it. When you're gonna make it, you know, type of thing. Man, the day a person put $300 in my hand for me performing for 30 minutes, I made it.
Exactly.
I got paid to perform something that I wrote. You know,
that you love to do.
The day I formed my business, my LLC, I have an event, you come, you pay me, I get money. I made it. I'm making money from the thing that I love to do, if that's the barometer. But then also, I've made people cry. I've made people say, I love your stuff. You impacted me to do something. Mm-hmm. People leave my event and say, I need to get on my shit.
Yes.
I made it.
You made it. Exactly. And that's true for sure. But in closing, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
5 years, I'll be a millionaire.
Okay.
For sure. Multi-millionaire. UptownINDE will have its second location. And we will have at least 2 strategic partnerships. The first one I'm going to go after, I'm going to go put it out in the air. We'll have our beer and liquor license. So my first partnership, I want to get Bel Air and Rose involved with this.
Oh, dope.
So that's going to be one of the first ones. I'm going to put that shit out there right now.
All right, nice.
Yeah. But other than that, you know, like, just always pursue excellence.
Oh, yes, for sure. Is there any final words you want to go off to the audience before we go off?
The motto that we'll live by every day: never give up, never lose hope, always pursue excellence.
That's it for closing for the Mental Threads Podcast, episode 169. My guest, Dru Billions. I appreciate you for coming on.
I appreciate you. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
All right, we're sewing in and now we're sewing out.
All right,
cool. All right, would you say that you enjoyed the experience of the Mental Threads Podcast?
Oh, of course. That's cool. Did you have like a